mic's going to roll. No, this isn't a debate. And I want to emphasise that this isn't a debate. As most of what our panellists shared this evening, tonight really is about collective action, right? And it's about all of us just celebrating the fact that us Māori are in Council 1 and are representing our people in local government. So this part of this evening will go as follows. So everyone will have an opportunity of 3 minutes to just speak. So ko wai, no fair, who are you, where are you from? And then briefly share about your key campaign messages. What is it that you what do you hope to achieve? Why are you standing for council? And so just use this really as a platform to practice, because let's be honest, as the weeks go by, you're going to have to kind of get used to getting up and saying your little stump speech. So this is, I just want to emphasise that this really is a safe space for you. So use this as a template moving forward. But of course, use this as an opportunity to kind of bring the best of yourself this evening. So these are some of the rules for this evening, but I'm sure I'm not going to get to the part where I'm kind of like, okay, get off. So for all of you candidates, so when you see the light flick on and off, you have 1 minute left. Okay? So if you see the light flick on and off, you've got 1 more minute. And then if you've been on, once you've hit the 3 minutes, the light will stay on you. And everyone will know that you're on for too long. Ko marawa? Ka pai. Awesome. Okay, so this is the real exciting part. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Kirsty, and then she's going to lead this part of the evening. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Yes, so as Koe said, we're going to bring everybody forward. After that, we're going to ask for our tuakangers to give any feedback or comments or just to our candidates, and then the floor will be open for Pātai and Kōrero, ka pai. But first and foremost, ready to go! And then we ask all our candidates. Unfortunately, in Jess's case, we thought she couldn't make it because she's been at the tangi, so she's down as an apology, but we have her here in person. So, we were really boring. We've done it alphabetically because that was just the easiest way to herd these cats. Secondly, what we are also going to be showing you is the apology slides, because we think it's really important you get a sense of everyone who's standing, even if they couldn't make it out tonight. Ka pai? So, put your hands together again, please, for our first wonderful candidate, Kori Hawkins!
Me te mihi hoki ki te haukai na mo te kai. No te wakatangi a hau, te iwi waikato, ko ngā te mahita te hapu, ko ngā ro wāhi a tōku kaina, ko tūranga wāwai tōku mara, ko ngā te wāhi i tuku ake. I've been listening to the kōrero this evening, in particular around the whakaaro around being yourself, and so I had a speech all ready to go, 3 minutes, but I actually want to deviate from that and talk about where this all began for me, my decision to stand for council. It actually started with my old people back in Tūrangawawa, back in the 70s, who were actually approached by the mayor at that time, Nigel Latter. He went on to write a book about awa, Waikato Waika, as well as one of his councillors, Dermot O'Shea, a lawyer. Now they went to our park, Tūrangawawa, and they asked our old people, we want you to put forward a Māori candidate for council. So our old people, as they do, they have their kōrero, and they say to the mayor and this councillor, we've chosen who we want as our Māori candidate for local council. And it was my father. And so we got a knock on the door, you know, and our humble whare back in Aroa Wāhia, they knocked on the door and my father was basically told, your old people have chosen you to be their candidate for local council. Now that was a really big deal for my father because he's a really private and quite a reserved man. Unlike his sisters, my Auntie Mata, my Auntie Muchi, my Auntie Hera, my Auntie Rani, who are very much at the forefront of Kiwitanga. But my father knew that when you're asked to do something from the old people, you do it. And so I'm standing here to continue that whakapapa of whānau that have been supported by our old people, our tupuna, to go into these spaces. Am I scared? Of course I'm scared. But you know what? I know that I've got the skills and the ability to be a great councillor. I've got a big background in social infrastructure. A big part of that mahi is advocacy. So I've worked with many whānau. I've been their voice to make sure that they have the resources and all the supports to allow them to carry on taki. As Kasutipa and our whānau have said, it's ultimately up to the whānau. Mahi a tāra te mai. What is it that I'm wanting to invest in? Jobs. Jobs for our people, all people. I want to invest in housing, in particular for Kainga. I want to invest in small businesses. I also want to invest in community initiatives. So whānau, I'm asking you to vote for me not once, not twice. Oh, sorry, once, twice. Firstly for mayor, and secondly for the Māori candidate for Te Taihunga. This is for our Waikato District Council.
Kuri. So next, because we are going alphabetically, Horiana, where are you? Oh, there you go.
Yay!
I wrote something, but it will be too long, so yeah. I will. Thank you for having us on my little marae. Kia ora tātou. I'm Horiana Henderson. I'll get it right. Ko aorangi te maunga, ko mōkau te awa, ko tainui te waka, ko Ngāti Maniapoto tōku inga, te iwi. Ko te paimati te hapu, ko mōkau ko hunui te marae. No aria hau, he mokuna o te whānau Stockton. Ko Horiana Henderson tōku ingoa. No reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. I am standing for Mayor of Hamilton City and for Hamilton East General Seat. Yeah, I had a lot in there. I initially was just going to stand for Hamilton East Councillor. That was going to be big enough for me to do, to bite off and all of those sorts of things. But Finance Committee Chair and Councillor Rob Pascoe, I read some of his posts on his social media and I was concerned enough to put myself forward for Mayor because he was talking about just the debt and the finances, and then the kōrero that I was hearing coming from our mayoral candidates referred to increasing spending, debt, one of those groups. Extremely expensive, multi-million-dollar legacy project, $34-ish million, a bridge between two bridges already. And when I think about the rates going up, they can't keep on doing that, so they need to start finding money other places. And we know you know, the most vulnerable communities are likely when they're going to go looking for that future. And so I just wanted to offer another option for whānau. I know a lot of our whānau are on the general role as well. I wanted them to have an option on that role for a councillor. But then I also wanted us to have a Māori mayor. Like, that's the dream. Woo! That's the dream! And so I'm dream with all of you, all our whānau, and at least, if nothing else, our tamariki mokupuna can look and see a sign and it says that girl from Maniputu and all of these other iwi, she's running for mayor. That's all I have to say.
Kia ora.
Now we have our first apology. So Jess is standing for Hamilton City Council and in the East Ward in Aroha. We didn't have a slide for her because, as I said, she blessed us with her presence quite late in the piece. So Jess, the floor is yours.
Kia ora te whānau, ko whakarara me tautani te maunga, ko wairere me wakato te awa, ko te maire me te kotahitanga te marae, ko maitupango me rātika te hapu, ko Ngāpui me wakato te iwi, ko Ngātiki Mata Whāorua me tainui te waka. No kerekeri roa hau, ko Jesuna tō
Kia ora, Jess.
So firstly, I would like to thank you all for being here tonight. You know, to bless us, it's a privilege for all of us here to stand here in front of you and speak our truths. That's what we call it. And also I'd like to thank the organisers, to Kura, for bringing us together, as well as the candidates who come here. I mean, it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to stand in front of people. And I mean, right now I am shaking. Anyway, I'll move on. So, I came here with a speech, you know, very structured, very, you know, to the point, and, you know, about the issues. But after listening to these beautiful wahine over here, you know, that wasn't my truth. That was not my truth. You know, talking about the infrastructure, transport infrastructure, you know, our climate change, the environment, our river, you know, those are our tonga, our whenua. However, you know, I wasn't going to come here tonight, but there was something inside of me that told me I had to come and speak. Because I stand here tonight just not by myself, but with all my ancestors. So, you know, this, and you know, just, I want to say just to all our people before us that took the long march, you know, to fight for this, you know, I want to thank them, because if it wasn't for them fighting for us in the past, we wouldn't be here today. So, you know, I'm indebted to them, because through them, it's helped to shape me to be the person I am today. So really, you know, those big issues, we really start at grassroots, at the ground level, getting out there in the communities. So currently at the moment, where I'm standing, crime is huge. It's huge in our area, and like I heard the kōrero about specific topics and everybody's electric, and I thought, wow, you know, this is something I really want to speak on, because our crime is rising in our area, in New Zealand. However, you know, I can only speak to the electric that I'm running at, and you know, it's really sad that our people get blamed for all these things because of the lack of understanding who we are as people. You know, we have to go down a pathway that simply isn't suited to us, but nobody's willing to listen. So, you know, on that note, because I can hear that, you know, I'm standing because I speak for the people at level. I speak of those issues that, you know, those little issues is what helps those bigger issues. And, you know, and I hope that that ICUs come out there and support all of us here tonight, because, you know, it's not just about me, it's about all of us. So I might stand here as one, but I come as many. Kia ora. Kia ora.
Good, Jess. Amy Lee. That's you.
Tina.
Ko hokanui hei me o whawhiwhi ngā kanga o kumatua tūpuna. Ko Amy Kupa, tōku ingoa. Kia ora. What a beautiful crowd tonight, I must say. Otherwise, who am I? Why am I here? For my whole life, my whole journey, my career journey, my identity, culturally, socially, as well as in my career, I've always chased the dream of rangatahi, changing the spaces in which we move. The kaupapa that I stand for is creating change that suits our future generations, whatever that looks like. And my kaupapa of why I'm standing is to ensure that the spaces that I move into, those spaces are also opened up for the rest of us as well. Whatever that looks like, if that is rangatahi, if that is diverse communities, diverse voices, we all have our own kaupapa that we come in, and I want to provide our opportunity to be more transparent in the spaces I move. So why Hamilton City Council? In the East Ward, I chose to stand for General Ward because I know even though that we have our Māori wards, we have some awesome people standing in there, and I also wanted to provide more opportunities and spaces that weren't just Māori, but also to create spaces where in these general seats, what else can we pursue and how else can we support each other? Not just Māori, we have quite a big Pacific and migrant space within Hamilton boundaries, and I feel like this is a pretty key space to play in at the moment. In terms of overall youth health and wellbeing, or youth health community development, I really want to go back to our roots for council to go back to who we come from, which is in our communities, who are we actually representing, and how are we doing justice, but how are we also platforming the people who don't necessarily get their voices platformed as well. So an interesting space, my first time standing, so thank you for your guys' support right now. I'm feeling pretty mahalo right now. But I just wanted to leave this kaupapa remembering why I'm doing stuff. It's for our village. As Tikuya said, ka monora ahau, kua hau anake, ka monora tātou, ka whaia e tātou.
And next up, we've got Michelle Living.
Last Thursday I had no aspirations of standing for the regular community. But what I did have at that time though was I had seen some reports on in the media about lack of candidates in the Māori wards. And the majority of my work is as a researcher writer in Māori health, and the majority of my writing is around transformation in Māori health. The Māori wards is about transformation, and there needs to be a pathway to that transformation. And so I take my hats off to all the people who have come forward to stand in those really hard spaces that we're talking about in terms of council. I knew that I have a set of skills that I can offer at a local level, to the community board, having worked with Lisa on some of our COVID response stuff. Skills, it's been a long time since I've worked in government, but it's policy, strategy, skills and those things. But in terms of thinking about how can I support the transformation that's going to happen in those Māori wards, then I can do that at a local level on the Raglan board. And it would be my hope that next year when we come, that I have 4 others here who will stand. So that's one of the motivations for that. And also the other motivation in terms of mokopuna decision making, bringing that to the Raglan Community Board in terms of bringing Māori worldview to our decision making, and infiltrating that through the entire community. So,
we're going to go through, because I think it's important you get a sense of all the 55 that we actually have standing, even though some of them unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. So, and I couldn't resist putting Tipper's sister up here too, for any excuse for the moment. And the group down there. Oh, sorry, too far. Hello? Okay, sorry. Now Gary, some of you know, and he was one of our guests on our live stream. He's standing in Matamata Piako. He has been on the Te Mana Whenua Forum up until now, and he's gone unopposed, another one. Candy is off living the dream doing whaanau in the UK at the moment. But she's standing for the Tuakau Pōkene Ward. She's already been very involved, as you know, in the community board up there. So, and she's now on the Māori Health Authority up in Pokakoi. So she's going to make a great councillor. Marlene Raumati is standing in Wairinga Whitakahu. So again, unfortunately, she couldn't make it tonight. So, but there she is. And now we've got back to our candidates. Yeah. So, Mish, it's yours.
Kia ora te whānau. Ko te au whakawhi te maunga, ko waihau te awa, ko ngāti whārua te waka, ko Lena, Rawa Pukina, Alexander Mātua, ko Michelle Tokuingoa, no te taitoke rawa hau, ngāi kirikiri roa, e noho ana a hau, and te kirikiri roa, e noho ana a hau. Just wanted to, first of all, mihi to our hosts this evening. Thank you very much for providing us with a platform. I feel very supported here amongst peers and colleagues in our tuakana who have shared their whakaaro with us this evening. And I also wanted to mihi to you all this evening for coming out tonight. You know, it's winter, it's cold, and you made the choice to be here. So thank you very much. In terms of who I currently work at Waikato Regional Council, and I work in the rangatahi space. I've spent the last couple of years giving tautoko to our rangatahi to basically change the world, and they are taking up the take and running with it. So that makes my heart very happy. I am a married mother of 3. I'm a Waikato University graduate in law and management. I'm a business owner, and I think the first question that I needed to think about before I signed that paper and submitted it was why. It's a very scary thing to put yourself forward and put yourself out there. And so for me, to overcome the scaries, I had to dig deep and think about why am I doing this? And I was having kōrero with my parents who live up in Te Taitokiro, and they said to me, why? Why would you stand? And I said, because I love Kirikiriroa. I came here as a teenager to go to church college, and I stayed. I loved it. And I met a boy was my classmate at the University of Waikato, and we got married. Long time ago. This year is our 20th anniversary. So I came and I stayed, and my heart grew here. So because I love Kirikiriroa, because I love the Waikato, And now I have 3 children who look to me to make kirikiriroa good for them. So now I have 3 extra reasons to want to be involved to make kirikiriroa wonderful. Then I thought about, what can I offer? You know, we have a lot of amazing candidates who will all bring their skills, their knowledge, their networks. What can I contribute in this space? I thought. When I submitted my papers at the Regional Council, they have rules and protocols because I work there. And they said, hey, if you're going to run for council, here are all the rules that you have to keep so that, you know, we can stay on the right side of right. But they said, actually, we've never actually tested these protocols before because nobody who works at the Regional Council has ever stood for council. And so I think that offers a unique perspective because I understand how the engine room works. I understand how the organisation works. And so I can bring that perspective to the governance space. To know when we're making decisions and having kōrero about these big visionary things that we're trying to achieve, I can bring a perspective of this is how it will actually happen, this is how it will work. I think that's a great thing for the community to have that perspective around the table. So why should people vote for Michelle McDonald? Well, I'm intelligent. Right? I have 2 undergraduate degrees, law and management, first class honours in both of them, did a master's in management, first class honours in math, was admitted to the bar in High Court of Hamilton as a barrister and solicitor, so I bring intelligence to the table. I'm experienced. I've worked up at the University of Waikato, I've worked at Massey University, run a business, work at council. These are all good things to bring to the decision-making table. And I bring integrity. I'm practical. Yeah. You can Google me. There's no one else called Mishwela if you Google me. So these are all things that if you think that combination of skills, experience, passion is the kind of person that you want to represent you at the table, I would appreciate your vote.
Kia ora.
Te rangatira o tēnei kaupapa, Ngāmi, te akuho mahi, tēnā koutou, e te whānau, kia ora. Ki te whare, te tūpuna, kāia, tēnā koe. Heori tēnei no te aroa, no Ngāti Raukawa, no Ārangi, no Koki Ārangi Hoki, Koki Manarangi Tupunga, whanaunga. I'm Ricky Manarangi, and I've bravely put my hand up in the same as Horiana there, as another Māori candidate for Kirikiriroa, for Mayor and for Hangs. The first thing to acknowledge is that, you know, one of our 3 options for a Māori, first Māori Mayor of Hamilton, 2 of them are here tonight. So just remember to hassle both of us on the way up, and tell us about your, if you live in Kirikiriroa, tell us about your drain pipes that aren't working and your rates being too high. So the platform that I've come to stand on is that I was in charge of Hamilton City Council's bylaws and policies for 4 years. Come with a similar background as my colleague over here that's running the Regional Council, with a bachelor and masters in law, same year bachelor and masters in management, so strategic management. Yeah, so we're birds of a feather, both work in council, so we understand how the machine operates. And particularly in the space of policies and bylaws, you're working very closely with the elected members, you're working very closely with the mayor, you're down in the chambers. And the irony is I feel a lot more comfortable in Te Ao Pākehā down in those chambers than I do in live spaces. I'm still a grasshopper in the space, so play nice, be kind. And what I'm hoping to do is actually bring a new way of thinking in council. I believe that if you have a look at it, a lot of our structures that we have in place around how people at the bottom are not so engaged with the political systems, it's because I don't think we're leveraging technology as much. Everybody, particularly at COVID, it sped up the need for all of our queer and poro to get electronic devices because that was the only way we could connect with them to make sure that they were safe from COVID. So it means that now there's a lot more familiarity with devices. So it means you have a lot more access to information, and it's about making sure that we can get some good information to them. But more than that, it's actually a means or a vehicle for them to engage so that they can actually participate in a lot of the decision making that's going to impact on them. So that's a platform. Google me, same. You must have studied at the same university, but yeah, Google me, hit me up, ask me questions, annoy me. There's plenty of stuff online, but that's enough for now.
No? Sorry. Okay, sorry, I've jumped the gun, but we're out of alphabetical order. Since you're up there now, Dan.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
I was hoping to have a little store to put my notes on, but I'll survive. I ngā mana, i ngā reo, i ngā karanga maha o te wā, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Petua ki te manga, ko Orini te awa, ko Ngāti Ao te iwi, no whakatāne au, kei kirikiri roa ahau e noho ana, ko Dan Ste tuku e ngoa, nō reira tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora everybody. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the whare that we're in, acknowledge our organisers of this event, including Tainu Lahen Tuikura, and also our fabulous cooks in there. I don't get a pop, so my plate was too small. Anyway, I'm really honoured to be here as a Māori candidate in the Hamilton City Council West Ward. I've been asked over the last year, you need to run for council, and I've always been like, hell no, you know, there's never going to be my name on there. But as I start to realise the things that some of our current city councils are saying, not only in Kirikiri but across the world, across the country, not the entire world, I was thinking to myself, are these really the people that we put into these places? Are these people the ones who are actually representing me? You know? And so, you know, as we've recovered from the pandemic, I believe that the West Ward needs a strong, committed voice that is all about making it our city a place where we can flourish as a people. But not only that, it's going to be a place where people can visit, where people can live and belong and be a place, the best place in New Zealand, to be completely honest. And so I thought I'd put my name forward, and I'm probably sure you've seen me in the newspaper already, putting signs up too early, but you know. So I've been actively involved since I started my campaign earlier this year, hearing directly from the residents of the West Ward and hearing what issues concerns them and what really matters to them and who, you know, the people that represent them in that place in the Hamilton City Council chambers, what really matters to them and who they want to see in there. The issues that I always hear always comes down to your bread and butter issues, that we've got a place to live, somewhere, a roof over our heads, that we've got kaya in the fridge, and other things that we're looking after our environment and making sure that our Waikato River, which is one of our biggest assets in the city of Kirikiri-Roa, is looked after. My background, so I actually come from a retail and hospitality management, and also come from the events industry. So if you've ever heard of big concerts, I've probably been behind it in some way or another. And so these areas are areas that were really impacted during the COVID period. So I thought if I can bring some of my skills in those areas to come in, there are three priorities I'm running on. One is CBD revitalisation. I actually live in the CBD, and one of the things that people was telling me was as a canvas in the CBD, oh, it's so dead here, you know. We want to see a place that's lively. We want to see the arts and music and performances and a cultural centre for our CBD. The second one is parks and recreation, ensuring that we've got accessible parks that people can go to. One of the houses that I knocked onto, she goes, look at this field over there, it's just a plain field, there's no playground in it, there's no nothing. She goes, why don't we put some fruit trees in there? And I said, that's a great idea, why don't we? Yeah. But not only that, but ensuring that communities have what they actually want, and the council hears, rather than council say to them, this is what you're going to get in this park, actually hearing about those people. Spoke to one lady who'd lived in her street for about 30 to 40 years, and she said, the council's never asked me what I've ever wanted. So it was a really good opportunity to have that. And the last thing, before I finish, is the city infrastructure and city connections, ensuring that we've got the infrastructure there. We need to realise that the Waikato, particularly Hamilton, is one of the biggest road users in Hamilton, so we need to start looking at other modes to be able to get around our city, which includes cycling, looking after safe cycle lanes, public transport, which includes buses, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the Hui train, but half price to get there now is about $9 there, $9 back. It's cheaper than filling up your car. So looking at those different options, and also ensuring that whilst we're looking at infrastructure, that we have our connected city. So being able to get from A to B with these, and giving options for people to be able to do that. But anyway, I'll see you the time. So yeah, kia ora mo te aroha mo me te tautoko. Kia ora.
Okay, so now we'll have some more apologies and then we may get back to the alphabet. So I know we're standing next day in the Waikato Regional Council in the Waiho constituency. We have Malena. So she's saw the light on Thursday as well, Michelle, and she's standing for the Kirikiri Māori ward. We have James Ratana, who's also standing for the Kirikiri Māori ward, and more that couldn't be here. Jess did come, yay! And ones who didn't make it tonight were Donna Pokeri Phillips, who's standing for the Mayor and the Kirikiri Māori ward, Mātai Araki Titoki, who's standing for Kirikiri Māori ward. Do you want your turn now?
No,
Okay, so can we have our next candidate? Thank you. Can I tell a story, Doris? Where are you?
Yeah, she's over here.
You're not meant to be there, you're meant to be up here. That was we're meant to see. Oh, here we go. Sorry.
I'm done.
I'm going to have to tell the story. Doris actually thought she was standing for the community board and didn't read her papers properly, so she's now standing for the council.
This has totally been mind-blowing for me. Like my mate said, I didn't read the paper, so I didn't have to took it on paper and signed it. This is totally new to me. I'm actually from ko Whakapineki te maunga, ko Wairo te awa, ko Ngāti Kahinuni o Wairo iwi, ko Takatumi te waka, ko Doris Aho. I've only been up in the Tuakai district for about 6 years. My passion is working with youth, and I'm still getting over it. I wanted a challenge with the community board. So all I can say is, bring it on.
Okay, and I've got all the T's and we've still got a couple of M's to go, but Hoko, you're up
Ria no tēnei no roto mai a tānata te mō te taniwha, rāhui pōkika, e reira au tupu. Anō reira kai aka whanaunga no kurike o Ngāti Wahanga, te tātou tau, anō te tātou katoa o te whare. E ria no tēnei hoki, Moro tu mai raka mo Ngāti Waire, Ngāti Haua, e peka anō ki uriki ana ki a Ngāti Mahanga nei, Ngāti Mahuta, Ngāti Hine. I'm standing for the Kirikiriroa Māori ward. And just want to meet to the others that are standing for those seats also. Hey, look, these are the reasons why I'm standing. Actually, it's not a new thing. I've been pretty hoo-ha with the Hamilton City Council for some time. In actual fact, it came around when the City Council tried to block iwi's ability to develop te awa. And so they instituted some bylaws to try and get around us. But if they did that there, then they would have to do it in other places. So they really did piss me off a bit. And so the passion has been there ever since. First of all, I'm very thankful for the mahi that Nanaia has done in terms of utility in the way and how we want our ministers, our crown officials to use it. Ko whakapūmau ana e ia, I te tiriti ki roto I te ture Pākehā. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also excited that I've been able to observe Tipa and Kataraina and the roles that they've done in terms of role modelling and leading our space, our ability to add value in that space. So e mi katikana kia rāua. These are the things that I'm going to campaign on whānau, and if you've seen my Facebook page, you'll know what they are. And so the first one comes as a clear mandate from the mana whenua of Kirikiriroa, that is to change the name from a bygone Pākehā whara who has the surname Hamilton, who has no whakapapa there. Yeah. So we want to bring it back to Kirikiriroa. So that's the first one. The second one is that we need to role model and demonstrate a good co-governance model. We've been doing it for a long time. So we need to be whakamā about their facts. The third one is, I am conscious about how our city is growing. I do have an environmental management background. I do understand how many of our whānau have not been able to participate in their decision-making space. And I have seen them get rolled over and over around very particular things that they've wanted to see in that space for a long time. If I'm at the table, that means that I'm actually able to help influence decisions. Yeah. I'm actually able to help influence how our city grows. And in particular, it's not lost on me that there are people in the kaunihina that don't want us there. Yeah. The racism is, I'm glad that I heard it from our speakers tonight, but I know that it's there and I know that it's going to be there if I'm in that whare. And so I believe we need to be putting people in there that are resilient, that are able to hack and roll with that stuff. Te whakakitinga or te kauwhanganui, however you want to look at it. It has conditioned me, and I believe I'm primed for these people. It's not lost on me that where I'm going into, there are people that don't like me and I'm not even there, but I need to be able to. You're the man for the job, though. I need to be able to set a platform for our mokopuna that are coming, and I do agree. This whare is not going to be able to hold all the people that are to come within the next 3 years. We're going to need more seats. We're going to need to grow that whare a little bit bigger. I'd like to help with the resource consent for that. And I'm also quite conscious that we have we have mana whenua that have mana whenua interests in Kirikiriroa, and yet they actually can't vote. Their marae actually sit in a different role under a local governance rule. So that's me whānau.
Now we have our wonderful own TikTok star. Girl, because I'm number one.
Okay. Can I get a lash go first? Te whānau, ko Tracy Maranui toku ingoa, huri he uri tēnei no waikato tāne me Ngāti Mahanga whanua au ki Kirikiriroa. Engari, I grew up born and raised in Rāhui Whakika, so pretty proud. So I had a whole speech prepared because on my way here I was practicing in my car. I was like, yeah, we got this, came in here, nah. I don't think we did, but I do remember some of it. So, the reason as to why I've chosen to stand, I didn't actually think about it until last week, until Auntie's over here. Then Auntie over there told me, oh, like, just offered it, and I was like, yeah, why not, eh? I'm gonna give it a go. I was gonna be cheeky and, you know, stand for council, Hamilton Council. I was a bit too late. I applied like 10 minutes before 12 o'clock. Better not, but yeah. This is okay, cuts to the chase. A big reason for deciding to stand is who better to advocate for rangatahi than a rangatahi, I'm really into the development of rangatahi well-being. There's a kōrero that I heard from a local in Rahu Pōkeka, her name's Pare. She was saying this speech, and it was, I grew up in the struggle, been through the struggle, and I'm living out of the struggle, but I want to give back to the struggle. And I resonate with that heartily because, yeah, Huntley, oh, I don't know if I should say this, but people see Rahu Pōkeka as, you know, not that good. But if you're in the community, mate, we do some heaps of good stuff. There's so many community activities, outreaches and stuff. And you know, I want to highlight that. I want to bring that to life. So you know, oh, look at that one. Yeah. Oh, I'm so nervous, guys. Yeah. What else do you want to know? Next question. Oh wow! What am I? I'm standing for the Huntley Community Board whaanau. So whaanau and Rahu Pōkeka, hit them up, tell me I'm gonna make my page like these people. So I'm gonna send you it, and you can share it around whaanau. Yeah, so let's get out and take it. Let's go!
And now we have another late entrance into the field to keep with their alphabetic theme. So Jennifer Nicol.
Tēnā koutou. Ko Jennifer Nicol tōku ingoa. Nō Rahui Pōkeka hau. Although very much non-Māori and the minority in this room. I tried my very best to hide in the back, but I was invited up. Thank you. And that is like literally the thing to do though. If you're invited into a space, we've got Māori constituencies, we've got Māori wards, invited in, come stand up, and that's what you're doing. Awesome. I know I've had a little influence of at least 3 people behind me here, which was pretty cool. And I'm here tonight very much to tōko Tracy as our Tuia mentee, along with Tipa, and it's just been so awesome, Tipa and Kaparaina, to be in the space with you over the last 3 years. So I've been a voice for Kirikiriroa, one of the 4 general constituency seats for the last 3 years. I very much stood as a bit of a, we'll see if it works, we'll see what happens, and I was so lucky to get it, and I've brought my kaupapa to that. It was like, let's get on with fixing some of this climate change issue. So I've been leading the Climate Action Committee, integrating that into everything council does, making that a strategic priority for the long-term plan. And that's been going pretty well, but it's time to mature that conversation from just being present to deeply understanding it. So there is a whole lot more to do, and I now understand why it takes, they say, 3 years to learn the cycle. And there are some really important decisions that happen at the start of the training that we need to be ready for. So that is one of the reasons why I also thought, you know, now that I've learned how the machine works, like who's who in the Zoom, who does what, who can get what done. It's a time. Second term, you can be really, really, really effective. So encourage people to have a think about that in 3 years' time. It's not necessarily a short-term stint. Lastly, also a little shout out to my daughter who's at home. So she has Māori whakapapa te Ngāroru down in Taranaki. And I look forward to sharing with her the story of being here with all of you one day and seeing the beginnings of you know, that representation that she can also be a part of as well. So with that,
I think we might be back to the teas again. Oh no, yes, Moko. Oh, we've gone the wrong way, that's fine, sorry. Okay, some more apologies. So we have Kuri Biggersley, who's standing for the Community Board in Whangaroa. Unfortunately, she's sick. And then we had Julius Mata, who's standing and being mentored by Arama over there for South Waikato. He had a major rugby league crisis apparently, so he hasn't been. He's the YMCA manager in Tokoroa, so he's standing on the Tokoroa board. Oops. Oh, here we go. Oh, did I go to 2? Oh, sorry. And now, maybe welcome please Grace, who tried to hide down the back there somewhere.
Kia ora, tau whalapa. Obviously I'm non-Māori, but I'm really here to support and tautoko Doris. Funny story, at the 11th hour, she was at my house. And I was like, yeah, what do you want? It's my day off. And she's like, come on, we're going to fill out the forms. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're really doing this. Yes, we're really doing this. I actually got on to the Tuako Community Board. Got my mate over there, she's going to be on the council. So yeah, it's been so awesome to come and get some encouragement and also some help, because Doris and I were the blind leading the blind. So we came from Tuako today at 5:30 and we got outside here at about 6:45 or just before you guys started. So it was the blind leading the blind. But on GPS it said 3 minutes and we went around 23 minutes. So obviously we got lost. But you know, God is good. And that's why I'm really thankful for each and everybody here today. It's been awesome listening to all these awesome people and what they're going to do. My why is during COVID, my Pacifica people, especially in the Waikato, especially in Tuako, and for me, that was so disheartening because we had to go looking and I had to be the voice. So thankfully Candy, in charge of Huakina Trust, she helped me, and so did Jackie Church. We got a grant of $3,000 and we went to all those whānau that didn't have anything. So that is my why. Unfortunately, my Pacifica people, I'm New Zealand born and bred in Grey Lynn, and we moved over to Tuako 6 to 7 years ago. And I'm the manager of the Tuako Union Parish Church, and we've got an op shop, and that's the hub. When people have no clothes, when people want food, they come to us. We're not a food bank, but everybody, they bring their food, we give it free to the community. So that's what my why is to help the community, and hopefully we can pass this on to everybody else. But whaftai lava, thank you from the bottom of my heart to each and every one of you, and God bless.
Apparently I went
here.
Oh, whoops, where am I? I'm going the right way now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I went too fast somewhere along the line. Okay, so another one of our apologies is Te Kaue Nikora. Unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. She's standing for the Tararo Takiwā. So They did it the Māori way, only they didn't kind of alert anybody. So Tairao is actually what we would call in Te Ao Pākehā north, and Taironga, which is where Kurikuri stand. Other ones who couldn't be here tonight from Waikato District Council was Rā Puriri, James Fetu, Tūtata Matahi Kautapu, so she's must be starting to Kurikuri again, Tilly Turner, Shane Hornsby, Kare Hetet, and Koriki Waiki. So as
just so the artists know, that's not Auntie Tūtata,
yes.
Te Moko Panau
So we're just getting a sense of how rich the field actually is for Māori candidates, even if not everybody could be here tonight. Okay, so we'll just ask for our next candidate, Tanya.
Kia ora everyone, ko Hikurangi te maunga, ko Waiapu te awa, ko Ngāti Porou te iwi, ko Mangahania te marae, ko Tania Toku Ingoa. I would like to thank everyone here today and the organisers. Excuse me for speaking English. I am campaigning the first time this year, representing East Ward and standing for Hamilton City Council, Kiriroa, Kiriroa. And I have lived in Kiriroa, Kiriroa for 17 years with my whānau, with my tāne guy over there, my mokopona, Cadence, Ormsby Paul sign, and I was born in Gisborne and I lived most of my childhood in Auckland, and I have a few issues in my campaign that I want to look at, one of them being rates. As I've noticed, our rates have gone up extremely high, and when I was researching it, it was 6% from 2021 to June 2022, and it's been pretty tough, and going through the pandemic and the rates going high and high, and everything's been going up with inflation, petrol, and I would like to, if I get elected, I would like to freeze the rates, and tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou.
Candidate as well. Unfortunately, we don't have a slide for Edith because she blessed us unexpectedly. So she got the apologies list too.
So first off, I put in my apologies for Auntie Kawe Mukura. I rang her up to see if she was coming to hitch a ride, and she was like, "Oh, cool, hi, Hannah." So I put that challenge out there. She wanted me to lay that down. The timing's not the greatest because that's what Cheryl is too. But ko Ngāti Porou, rawa ko Ngāti Kahungunu ki Wairarapa toku iwi, no tikitiki rawa no me Maukino toku whānau. Engari, ko Rahui Pōhika toku kainga, toku manawa. Ko Aiden toku ingoa, ko Wautai toku ingoa whānau. So, my family is from the East Coast, Tikitiki, and that's my dad's family. My mum's family is from Mangakino, but originally this year there, but both of my grandparents chose, for their own reasons, to live in Huntly. They chose Huntly as their home, Rahu Pōkeka. Since then, both of my parents and some of their siblings chose Huntly as well, and all of my siblings, and then all my nieces and nephews, and then one of their kids too. So, though when I'm not from there, and I'm very assured, or I know intrinsically that I am not Mount Whenua there, but Huntly is my heart, my home, and my heritage. I'm standing for the Huntly Community Board for a second term. The first time I stood, I didn't come from a kaupapa Māori background. I was brought up Christian. So in the Te Ao Pākehā, although I knew I was Māori and was taught the kaupapa by my mum and attended things, but never really grew up on marae, and so settings like this are a little bit unsettling, but I try my best. So going into the community board, I just saw what our previous community board was like, the things that they were neglecting in our town, the lack of consultation with our people, and that was just not just Māori, that was across the board. And I thought, I can do better. And I keep getting told, you can do better. So I decided to stand. I had an inkling of how it would be, being the total opposite of our councillors at the time and some of our community board members, being young, Māori and female. I was the exact opposite of everything that they knew and stood for. But I knew that because I'd already stood for the Huntly RSA committee, where one of my councillors was the president, and that was loggerheads. But I think me growing up in both worlds helped me to translate that world, I guess, between the two of us and create more of a bridge, where we're now not friends, but not enemies. And for someone who you ask, I won't name him, but you probably know him. Anyone that might be asking would think some not nice terms. He's come up to me and been encouraging of Te Māori. So there's, like Te Pasees, you come in and it's a whitewashed world. There are pockets of opportunities to change that. I didn't come in with the idea of kaupapa Māori, but looking back, especially tonight, we, in my first candidate, is that the one? That's the 3 minute. Oh, that was the plan. Sorry. When I first stood, I got questioned by Rāmari Maiti about why is Huntly not Rahu Pōkeka, and we went through that and realised that it's little things first. You can do a big memorandum, but it won't change the society's view who need to vote on it. So we need to do little things first to get society on board, get the community into it, buy into it, and then do a memorandum or a referendum. And so we did things like I made sure that the welcome sign in Huntly had to have Rahu Pōkeka on it. If you submitted it, you must have that. We changed the train station name. One wanted Rahu Pōkeka, one wanted Huntly. We made it both, and we put Rahu Pōkeka at the start. And it's just things, little things like that. We made sure that on all of our documentation, our community board was Rahu Pōkeka. We held and alternated our hui from the east side to the west side, just to create that presence and to show, there was neglect there. So just those little things that have built up this, hopefully, second term that we can start seeing some more positive outcomes like that.
tuakana to give their reflections. I just wanted to go through again some of the ones that we haven't been able to see tonight, and we'll now understand why Cheryl's not here. Yes, unfortunately, because nominations closed on Friday, that made this the best date from that point of view. But yeah, Kuranehara, of course, is this week. Te Pora, unfortunately, her daughter's sick, so she's standing for Hamilton City Council, Kirikiriroa Māori Ward. And in Waipa, we've got Gayleen Roberts, who unfortunately couldn't make it today, Bill Harris, Takina Sterling, so there's 3 of them going for the Waipa Māori Ward. Luke Moss, unfortunately, sick. We haven't been able to track down Ian Hauraki, so if any of you know him or his email address, please let us know and we'll get hold of him. And of course in Matamata Piako we have Gary Thompson now as successful. Thames Coromandel, we have Tony Mangakahia in the Coromandel Colville Community Board, and Bess Kingy, Mercury Bay Community Board. James, unfortunately, also couldn't make it tonight. Oh, sorry, and there's Whitehall. Yeah. So that's Luke Moss, I must have got something wrong there. Ronald Takare, Ross Hedawini, Edie Manawaiti, Wikitoria Tane's unfortunately in Christchurch, and Gabriel is down there with her, and James Mahara. Oh, yeah. And then that's us.
Hey, look, awesome. So firstly, just really want to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank all of our candidates for, and look, as pressured as it is, this really is kind of the chance for you just to make those quick little boo-boos and hope that when you do go out into the community, whether it be your community or some of the surrounding communities, at least now you've gotten a bit of a taste of, I guess, what's expected, what you might expect. The audiences somewhat might be a little bit different in means of colour and diversity. And with that comes obviously different perspective and different partai. But just really want to take this time, sorry Dennis, but just really want to take this time to acknowledge you guys for your courage. One, for putting your hand up and being brave enough to say, look, I'm going to do this and I'm going to stand, one, as a candidate, or in some cases as a mayor. And then 2, for giving up your time this evening to both, one, share with us your whakaaro, but also speak to some of the issues that you're looking to represent in each of your constituents. So tēnā ki kia koutou. Look, just quickly what I'm going to do now, maybe just if I can just hand it over to our panellists. No, I haven't briefed you about any of this, but we do have a little bit of time left, but just wanted to kind of just quickly hand it over to you just for quick reflections, final advice as tuakana, to those of our candidates who are looking to stand this year. Don't all jump up. Yep.
Okay, firstly, don't know what Koe said. Just awesome. So back yourself or backing yourself this far, alright? Because we all do. We all do. The rooms will get fuller. Just know I come from a family of public speakers, and I don't public speak. I was the tangi mentor at school. Don't make me speak. So it's just practice makes you better. So speak at the kohanga, speak at, create, hey, I want to speak to you right now, my speeches, laugh. Just give yourself plenty of practice, You TikTok kids will be good at this anyway. But if you're inspired, your audience will be. So it doesn't matter what your kaupapa is, if you're totally into it, man, we're into it. Hey, we don't even know why we're into it. And again, if you care about it, we'll care about it. Because we want to be with you, we want to see our whānau do well, we want to see your success. My other thing is that everybody allow tauri kura, because successful or not, there are committees, opportunities to do mahi and council plans, wakato plan in our space, and a whole lot of spaces after this, and we want to be able to say to Koe, hey, can you tap on the shoulder of those people who might be interested? So please let tauri kura carry your information after the campaign, because we'll need to reach into you. And say, hey, we need somebody looking at all of these different hundi roles in local government. And but other than that, atu tēnā, I think don't worry so much about the timing, but 3 things, that's all anyone can consume in 3 minutes. Everything else is too much. And that's just, someone taught me that because I used to be able to get it all into. But now, so
So from me, guys, well done. I can imagine how some of you were all shaking here. But the good thing about it is that you've had your first practice with Māori. A lot of you who aren't standing in Māori wards, you know, because in the Māori ward journey you have to talk to Māori, but the ones who aren't, remember your audience is white and everything else but. So you're going to have to do this with them. Okay? So there's a whole lot of councils, a lot of places, the Great Power, all of that, they have these things going. You're going to have to go and get in front of those people, because you can't expect to be voted for the mayor only for Māori. You won't make it. So you have to go to these other campaigning areas and sell yourself. Exactly the way Tip is. If you aren't sure about yourself, why on earth would the people in the audience say? So you had a good run tonight. Use it as experience of speaking. Start looking now or using these two acts behind to get you talking now in mainstream campaigning area, because they are the people who are going to vote for you. If you can't get your Māori off their bums to go and vote for you, your next best bet is the community. And the community under is everything but Māori. And why is that? Because we believe in being in the back. We haven't yet worked our way to the front.
We're changing that.
Yeah, but you're not going to change it by the time October comes along.
No, well,
it's going to change for your next 3 years. But you're talking now. So ka pai tēnā motu kororo e tēnei pō. Good luck. I'm not in any of your fellas area. Huntley up there, Huntley, Hamilton City. You know, so unfortunately I'm in Aotearoa and my part. So excellent. No, thank you for inviting us.
Awesome. Kia ora.
Can I just say 2 things, please? Firstly, if you can send around like what your Facebook pages are, your Instagram pages are. You know, we're in a generation of media, and I know one of the speakers talked about that. Let's use this forum to promote each other, and you know, there will be my whānau that can vote in your areas, and there will be your whānau that can vote in our areas. Well, you two don't need to elected. So, you know, use this whānau to platform yourselves off, and